The floating city of Valora 9 was beautiful if you didn't mind being constantly reminded that you didn't belong. Massive crystalline towers stretched into the sky, casting prismatic light across streets crowded with alien species of every imaginable form. Winged traders glided above, while four-armed artisans maneuvered through busy marketplaces. Humans, like Ethan Drake, were rare here, especially those with no local connections, no family, and no credits. Ethan had thought he could blend in. After all, he'd studied the customs, learned the local dialects, and had even managed a job in a minor logistics guild. But today, the truth became unavoidable. He was late on his rent. And the landlord was coming. The news had arrived in a holographic message, a reminder, courteous at first, escalating to threatening overtones. The final line was blunt, almost theatrical. Non-payment will not be tolerated. Appear at the property, or face consequences. Ethan paced the narrow apartment he'd rented on the upper tiers of the city's residential spire. The furniture was minimal, a cot, a small table, and a single holo communicator. Outside, the city glimmered and hummed, alive in ways that humans were only beginning to understand. But his window showed only one thing, the approach of her. The door opened before he could reach it. And she entered. A giant alien woman, at least twice the height of the tallest humans he'd ever seen. Her skin shimmered with an opalescent blue sheen, streaked with gold patterns that moved slightly, as if alive. Her eyes, two vast amber pools, examined him as though he were a minor curiosity. Ethan swallowed hard. "You are the tenant," she said, her voice deep, musical, but carrying an undercurrent of authority that pressed against his chest. Yes," Ethan stammered. "I know I'm late, Her hand lifted slowly, gesturing toward the living area. "Sit," she commanded. The single word was enough to make him comply. Ethan noticed her size. Her claws, tipped delicately with metallic sheen, glimmered in the hololight. She was not a creature to be bargained with casually. The apartment, small by her standards, seemed like a child's playhouse. And yet, she moved with grace, surveying every corner as though deciding its worth. "I am Jaira Valek," she said, "owner of this unit, and the surrounding complex. Do you understand the implications of failing your obligation?" Ethan nodded quickly. "I do. You just what?" she interrupted. "Explain." Ethan cleared his throat. "I lost my credits. My employer delayed my payment. I can pay double next cycle." Jaira's gaze pierced him. "Do you understand, human, that next cycle in my world is 30 standard hours? I do not tolerate excuses. The city expects adherence. I do not negotiate charity." Ethan felt sweat prickling along his back. I understand." Her lips, or what resembled lips, twitched slightly. Not a smile. A warning. "You will do more than understand," she said. "You will act." Middle. Jaira motioned for Ethan to follow her. He obeyed, though each step made his limbs feel unnaturally heavy. They exited the apartment and stepped into the corridor. The hallway itself was alive with faint bioluminescence, walls shifting subtly as if breathing. The other tenants gave them wide berth, none dared speak, their multi-limbed forms silent in her presence. "You will work," Jaira said. "Not for me. Not for rent. For the city. Complete 3 tasks before this cycle ends. Fail, and the debt is permanent." Ethan's mind raced. "Tasks? What tasks?" "Follow," she said, and they descended in a sleek grave lift to the streets below. The first task took Ethan to the marketplace of echoes, a vast bazaar where reality itself seemed flexible. Crystalline merchants offered goods that defied gravity, creatures haggled in languages that vibrated in the chest. Jaira stopped in front of a stall that sold liquid memory extracts, golden orbs that contained centuries of experiences. "Steal one," she said, "and return it without alerting the owner." Ethan blinked. "Steal?" Gyra's eyes narrowed. "Do not fail." With shaking hands, Ethan approached the stall. He mimicked the movements of locals he'd observed over weeks. Timing his steps with the ebb of shoppers, he slipped a small orb into his bag. The orb pulsed softly, as if aware of him. He froze as the stall's holographic guard flickered toward him, but she didn't see. He returned to Gyra. She touched the orb lightly, and it vanished into her form. First task complete. Your timing was acceptable. Barely. Task 2 involved retrieving a biocrystal from the central conduit, a structure bristling with lethal energy fields. Ethan had only read about this in textbooks. The conduit hummed and sparkled with raw energy, unstable in ways that made his stomach churn. Gyra stood beside him, hand lightly resting on the conduit. "You are not permitted to fail," she said. Ethan gritted his teeth. He leapt over sparks, timed his movements with the rhythmic pulses of energy, and snatched a small crystal embedded in a channel. He returned, trembling, to Gyra. She nodded slightly. "Second task complete. Your reflexes are human, but sufficient." Finally, she led him to the abandoned sector, where gravity fluctuated unpredictably, and the ruins of old research stations loomed like skeletal fingers. The task: deliver a message to the descendants of an alien scientist, a family long forgotten, whose knowledge could avert an energy collapse in the sector. Ethan's heart pounded as he navigated the ruined halls, finally locating the family's youngest heir. He handed over the encoded message and watched as their faces shifted from fear to understanding. For a moment, he felt genuine accomplishment. When he returned, Gyra's immense form towered over him. "All 3 tasks completed. Yet your demeanor shows fear." "Why?" Ethan swallowed. "Because I have never faced someone like you. Someone who expects more than compliance. Someone who tests everything." Gyra's eyes softened imperceptibly. "Fear is acceptable. Failure is not. You survived, human. That is satisfactory." Ethan breathed in relief. For the first time, he felt as if he might survive this city, these rules, and perhaps even this giant, unknowable alien. Ending. Back in the apartment, Gyra returned the keys to him not as a threat, but as acknowledgement. "You will pay your rent?" she asked. "Yes," Ethan said, voice trembling but steady. "On time. Every cycle." "Good," she said. "The city does not forgive negligence. Nor should it. But it rewards effort." Ethan nodded. "Thank you." Gyra's massive hand hovered over him for a moment, a gesture of strange reassurance. Then she turned, her silhouette filling the doorway. "Do not fail again, human. This is your only warning." And she was gone. Weeks later, Ethan reflected on what had happened. The tasks had been impossible for a normal human. But under Gyra's guidance, he had survived. The city, for all its alien rules and dangers, seemed less terrifying now. More navigable. Ethan never forgot the lessons: discipline, observation, courage, and the recognition that some beings, some landlords, were not to be challenged lightly. He paid his rent promptly thereafter. Not just because of fear, but because he had learned that respect and understanding was worth far more than credits. And somewhere, in the depths of Valora 9, the giant alien woman, Gyra Valek, watched over her tenants. Stern, demanding, and unyielding. Yet also fair. The human had survived. And for that, she had acknowledged him. Ethan realized, finally, that some regrets weren't about failure, they were about learning to face something far larger than yourself and emerging alive. And he would never forget it.